Show. I am your host, Donnie Gupton. This is the first show of 2024. I'm excited. I've been off for a couple weeks, and there's going to be some new things that happen on the Relevant Recruiter Show this year. And one of those things that you guys are going to love is that I'm going to have my partner with Aura Marketing, Alexis, join me on the show because she's got way too much knowledge not to be dropping on the show. So if you are here with us live, make sure you go in there and tap the likes. Leave a comment, let us know that you can hear us, and make sure you interact and engage with us as we go through the show. But there's the intro. Alexis, thanks for hanging with me today.
I'm so happy to be here, finally. Thank you for starting the year with me.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. This is going to be a fun show. So I know we've been talking a lot and working and helping people a lot with video marketing. And so this is obviously something that's very, very passionate for both of us. But, you know, before we get into the kind of the theme of the show of like why video marketing, why don't you just share kind of like what we're talking about when we're talking about marketing and video and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're talking about social media marketing videos, right? Like content that we're creating for our ideal clients or our audiences. We're absolutely talking about that. But there's so many other types of videos that fall under that category. One is video interviews, candidate outreach, client outreach, introductory videos, those type of videos, ultimately where you're connecting with anybody in your audience and in your world. Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's it. I mean, I think if you look at it as a whole experience, like, yeah, there's the marketing, which I think people think about, often. But I think the other things are like you're just saying, those outreach things make a huge impact. How it can impact the actual recruiting process, the interviews, communicating with hiring managers once you're in there. Yeah, there's just a lot of great ways to incorporate video now. One of the things before we get into the why, it's why not, right? And so from your experience, like what are people not doing, or why aren't people, engaging in video, just from like the reasons that they're typically giving you, like their objections usually, like what are you seeing?
Well, we hear these a lot, right? This is like part of our world all the time. And I think that the number one reason why people don't do video, from formal video to informal video, is fear. It's fear of being on camera, of seeing themselves, of putting themselves out there, of being judged. And, some people are reserved by nature. Like, you don't have to be gregarious and outspoken in order to be on video, because the whole point is to be actually authentic to who you are. But so especially people that may be more shy and maybe more uncomfortable putting themselves out there, really have a fear. Maybe they don't like public speaking. I also think that a lot of people are perfectionists. And so when they are on camera, they will nitpick themselves to death. And then it becomes a whole spiral downward spiral. Or they just dislike being kind of the center, and they feel like there's some type of ego or egotistical nature in it, which I would say is completely untrue. But I think fear of being on camera is number one.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, that's, I think, the most common objection that I get. And I think there's that fear of rejection.
Yeah.
Is that big underlying thing of like, what if I make a mistake? What if I don't say it the wrong way? What if somebody sees my eyes wander? What if I have something in my tooth? There's so many different things that people come up with fear. And, we'll talk about how to kind of overcome that as we get into this a little bit more. But, I think the other thing that I've seen that kind of hold people back is just that what they perceive is it going to be so complex, right? They think that videos have to be commercials and highly edited, and I've got to be with the right lighting in the studio. And there's so many little objections that I think come into place when it comes to just like, hey, how hard is this? And in 2024, I mean, there's some tools out there to help, and then having good partnerships and things like that can take that lift off their plate.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, one of my blocks for anything is the time it takes to research how to get a result. I hate looking into the apps or looking into like researching and like that spiral. So the time alone it takes to even figure out the tools that you may want to use, or the right kind of camera or the wrong kind of camera, is like, I would be checked out 30 minutes into that alone. So it's really hard. It can be really challenging to figure that out and get really complex. I think another thing is the lack of strategy. Like, video is one thing, right? But if you don't have an actual marketing strategy and goals, you're really not sure what to be doing to meet a specific objective. Maybe you don't even know who to target or who's listening, or like, what is success? What is a good video, good, quote unquote, right?
Right.
And then when we're not certain, or maybe we do end up putting ourselves out there and then we don't get the kind of results that we think are the kind of results, procrastination, and then
Right.
ultimately back to square one. So that lack of strategy and like lack of defined goals is probably another thing that I see often.
Yeah. And I think the strategy part is looking at it from like a long-term vision, right? Like really committing to, because I think you hit the nail on the head, is like so many people have that expectation of like, oh, well, I posted and put it out there and
Right.
didn't have that result. So yeah, I think having a clear strategy, one from actually like, what are you going to say, but also the strategy of like, well, what's the frequency? How consistent am I going to show up? Is critically important. I think one of the things that we've also seen too is, and I think this kind of goes back into that complexity piece, but it's just time constraints. And really it's competing priorities, right? Like, well, I could be on the phone making 100 calls, talking to clients, talking to candidates, or I could be leading my team. Like, where do I fit video, into my day, with all these other competing priorities out there? And, when you have a good system in place and you have that clear strategy and you have a way, tools, or good outsourced partnerships, that's where you can really flip that time thing to actually almost being an advantage. But what do you see from like time or competing priority, constraints and things like that?
Yeah. I mean, isn't that like the number one challenge for so many business owners, is like you're always focused on the business itself, but not doing the things that you need to generate more. I mean, I think about that with so many things like bookkeeping, right? Time blocking, like different things that are so challenging that like take away, in a sense,
Right.
from like what it is that your zone of genius is that makes you money. And marketing is one of those things, because most of our clients and most people are not marketers. They're great at what it is that they do. They're great at recruiting and
Yep.
doing those type of things. So absolutely. I mean, the time, and then, so it's very easy to justify like, well, this is actually a waste of my time, or this takes away from what it is to do money. And so it's a very easy mental game to think it's not important in the scheme of things. Right.
Right.
Right. And then like kind of on that, I think another thing is really not being clear on what is effective. So
Right.
like, you're not really sure on what works, or you feel like something should work or should work in a way that maybe used to, but you're not keeping up with the different trends. And you need to like think you're very focused on a short-term goal as opposed to the long-term goal of what video marketing should be, or what videos should be. What do you think about that one, about those misconceptions? Anything you see?
Yeah, I mean, I think that having the proper expectations is critically, important to commit to that long term, right? And I think that's where, you get some in front of some influencer that has this huge following, and they're talking about followers and views and something going viral, and then it's like you think that that's what's going to show up and happen for you. And quite honestly, the viral video doesn't really do much for you in the long run anyways. It gets you a nice little dopamine rush, but it's that consistency again that we keep talking about that's key. And I think that kind of goes into, for a lot of people that have been in the recruiting industry for a while, is they still have outdated beliefs that video marketing only works for other industries. And that it's not effective specifically in this space, or and then it's like, well, maybe I would consider that, but I would still prefer to cold call and do email marketing and things like that. And I think the thing is not to, it's not an either or thing. I think it's a both and thing, right? It's not to say stop doing these other activities. It's the main thing is if you're not doing this needs to be a priority for you in 2024, right? To incorporate these things into everything else that you have going on. So if you're listening with us live right now, I'd be curious if you can go in and just, if you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you're enjoying this, give us a little likes and comments. Thank you, Scott. See that you're with us here. Kind of transitioning now, into why. And before we get into some of the things, I just wanted to rip off some stats that I found that I think are really valuable for people to hear. Just the power of video marketing specifically. Actually, before we get into the video marketing, because that's kind of our side of things, I actually wanted to share a couple things just on the recruiting process side. So video interviews reduce time to hire by 50%. That's from HireVue. Using video assessments for soft skills screening improves hiring accuracy by 29%. 53% of hiring managers say video interviews help them make better hiring decisions, and 84% of candidates feel video interviews give them a better understanding of the company culture. So we don't really dive into video interviews ourselves, but if you're not using a platform like Hone It, you 100% should be, because Hone It, for example, will give you, it's a video interviewing platform that is just absolute gold. Okay. But getting into more of the video marketing side of things, videos are shared 1,200% more than images and text combined. 85% of executives prefer receiving video information via video. 72% of job seekers say want to see videos from potential employers. Okay. And candidates are 5 times more likely to engage with, if you're posting job postings, turn them into videos because they're engaged more with videos. Now, I think from a business development standpoint, we talked about some of these common objections of like, well, yeah, no, executives don't do that, or they're not online. And 88% of executives watch online videos. 65% of executives watch videos for at least 15 minutes per day. Okay. Now, one of the things with executives is we know that they're busy moving people. So making sure that your videos are 2 to 5 minutes long are going to be really, really powerful for you. But 78% of executives say that video helps them make more informed video decisions. Okay. And some other kind of cool stats that we found are 84% of executives watch videos on YouTube, 58% on LinkedIn. 43% of executives watch industry specific videos. So like that's for you folks that are in the niche, like they're consuming our stuff. Okay. But the big thing with that is like video that resonates with executives will definitely lead to more brand awareness. But getting into some of the actual specific, why should people be doing video, Alexis?
Yeah. I mean,
other than all those great stats.
Stats, like yeah. It's so obvious. Okay. But other than the stats, like for the people that need a little bit more reasoning, like some of the reasons why you need video is it really helps you streamline your recruitment process. It helps you stand out from the competition. Like when you're getting yourself out there, in addition to like your expertise, to what you know, to how good you are, the thing that makes you stand out is who you are. I mean, we tell our clients this all the time. That's the power of a brand. That's the power of a brand experience. It also increases brand awareness. So because people are noticing video more, you get more awareness on your personal brand, on your business. It helps you become a thought leader. I mean, people want to follow people that they believe in, that they resonate with their values, that are taking stands on things that they sometimes disagree with, but like get to engage in that dialogue, or really agree with, and they really like to lead. And so it really helps you have a platform to share those kind of concepts. I think truly one of the number one things that our clients say that's very important is it warms leads. So not only is it helping you get more leads, it's helping you warm them. So many of our clients tell us, like, when I hop on a sales call, it's so much more of a warm lead because they have an experience of who I am already. And like, they've been able to meet some of those objections. It builds connection. I mean, I'm sorry, we cannot underestimate this one. In a world that desires and craves connection, this helps you be known, liked, and trusted, which we talk about all the time, the important things of a brand. And it really, video builds that connection. And because they're shared so much more, you're able to really spread and expand that awareness, and it has that compound effect. Any other things that you think why you need video?
No, I think just to kind of dive into some of those things, I think the warming leads thing is one where I think people just flat out underestimate the power of video. And they think of video and to be clear, like a lot of our clients and for myself, I get inbound leads from my content, from my video efforts, and from doing things like this. And our clients will get inbound leads from videos as well. But more of it is when you incorporate this into your entire strategy, your entire business development or candidate sourcing strategy, it impacts all of that, right? When you look at a lot of the other people that are online that are actually have a digital presence in the recruiting space, they will echo the same thing, that when they're doing their outreach, when they're doing their cold calls, when they're doing their LinkedIn messages, when they're doing their emails, they're seeing more results of that from that effort because of the brand they're building online and because of the connection that video creates. So that's just one of the things I think, just to drive home, like the power of warm leads is really, really, important. Now, I think the other thing that comes into the warmer leads is that, you have a higher ROI and conversion from this. You want to dig into that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, when you're putting yourself out there consistently, when you're sharing, our brand pillars that we really help our clients with, and we encourage everybody to do, we want you to lead, to serve, and to connect. And so when you're actively and consistently engaging in doing those things, that is marketing, right? That is outreach. That is sharing what you do and your ability to help other people be successful. I mean, think about the alternative of that. If people are consuming text, let's just say you already are marketing by text, right? Like you are creating different posts and engaging. That's an outreach. That's absolutely important. But to be able to add video on top of that, you're increasing your ROI exponentially and building and working towards those long-term goals, in addition to the short-term goals of getting more sales.
Yep. For sure. I mean, in video, it makes a massive impact. And I'm just be curious, like with you guys watching, how much are you guys getting to know Alexis and I and our personality and our energy and how we show up just by simply consuming and watching us on video right now? It improves your ability to kind of tell your story and connect with your brand and your audience, which is, in my opinion, like nobody's going to argue that if we can meet face to face, that's the best thing. But this is the second best thing, and with so many people, in industries that focus on networking and building relationships with video happens, right? It's one way in the beginning, but your audience is able to build a better relationship with you when you're able to articulate yourself and you're able to tell your story a little bit more thoroughly. But I think there's something, especially for me, that like you can, energy is contagious in my opinion, and people can buy that inspiration, that energy, your motivation, who you are as a person. And that's, at least for me, it's very hard to do in written text. So before we get into some other things, I've got some kind of questions that came in I want to get into really quick. So yeah, Scott, it's definitely short videos on LinkedIn is what we're talking here. All you need is an iPhone or a smartphone to start. Or if you have your desktop, then fire up a Zoom or Loom or whatever. There's a couple of different free tools out there. Yeah. And then how consistent is up to you. I would say one a week is a great starting point, right? It's definitely a great starting point. Joseph, thank you for your question. I've reviewed video production apps and they do not look professional. How can I ensure quality production is there as I produce the outreach content? What do you recommend? Well, I mean, you want to make sure first and foremost that you are outsourced, with a professional. There's a lot of different ways to do that. It's not the tools, it's a strategy. I mean, there's a lot of different tools that are out there. But one of the things that I would caution on this, Joseph, is kind of what Alexis was tapping into earlier, which is people, I guess the point I want to make is like, don't be so consumed about the production. Don't use that as the priority. I would say, hey, pull out your camera and shoot a raw video and post it. And people are going to be way more interested in the message than they are the production quality. And the reason being is like, if you think about your own behavior, when was the last time you went online and actually interacted with a highly produced, almost commercial-like video versus here we are, very raw, no production, just having a conversation, and we're able to get interaction and engagement, right? So I think that there's a balance there where, hey, I'm progress, not perfection. People will consume video because the quality of the content, you don't need to be overly produced. And I think the big thing is not being so worried about being scripted and being, you're more natural and authentic and real you are. That's where you actually build, true human connection. Alexis, I don't know if you want to dive into that one a little bit more too.
I mean, I don't remember who, I'm sorry, I didn't catch the name of who you said asked that question, but you're asking the right questions, right? Because that shows that you care about what you're putting out there, and you should care about that. And I would say care about it, but don't let it be the reason why you end up not doing it. Like if you don't like the quality of the app, I mean, truly, I record all of my video on my phone. I mean, first of all, our phones actually have like some of the best quality recordings
Right.
that there is. I record my things on my phone, and yeah, I mean, you could get, there are the apps that work with editing, and I think that you can. I mean, what I would say is don't do it yourself. That's a total waste of your time. So find an app, or you can outsource it to a video editor. I mean, there's a couple of different routes that you could go there depending on how high quality you want it to get. But whatever solution you end up deciding on, allow there to be a solution. Don't let it be the roadblock to actually doing it.
Love that. A couple other things that came in, so this is good. Aaron Sweeney, what's up, buddy? Hope you're doing good. Aaron's one of our clients at Aura Marketing. Michelle said, would a podcast count as a good form of video content, or would you recommend more personal talking directly to your audience? And then Michael said, what technology do you use for this presentation? So yeah, I mean, I'm using Restream here. And, what I would say, to the podcast thing is, yeah, I think that's an excellent place to start. Kind of going back to just echoing what Alexis said is, what is your least path of resistance to get going? So if that's you pulling out your iPhone, great. If that's doing a podcast, great. Now, the thing with a podcast is you have to have a good script, a good ability to hold attention and things like that. Where doing shorter videos might be easier for you to go. That's not always true, but that just kind of, those are the things you're going to want to think about. Now, with all the tools and technology available, you can take your podcast and repurpose that into micro clips for video content. So every time we record something, and this is just kind of a general point of content anyways, and that's why I think video is the best place to start, because we could take this entire podcast here, have it transcribed, and we can turn that into a guide overnight with all the technology available to us, right? Or if I create a short form video, then I can take that and have that transcribed, and I can turn that into content. So when you're thinking about repurposing your content and becoming leverage, that's why video is such a great place to start. So yeah, I mean, to be clear, I think a podcast is good, but your podcast is probably more valuable if you're creating clips from it and rolling it out with there. Yep. Matt Seeger said, I recorded on my phone, then uploaded directly to LinkedIn. It's seamless. I agree with Matt. Record a selfie video on your phone, go to LinkedIn Messenger and attach the video DM. Yeah, that's a great one, Cody, sorry. And do it. That's for direct outreach. Yep. So you can do those, or you can use like a platform like Loom for that. So,
I wanted to say one more thing about the podcast that I think, and I've talked with some potential clients about this. I think obviously a podcast is fantastic, right? Like you get longer form, you get to talk, you got to really educate and serve. Like I really think that ultimately that's the best goal of a podcast. I think that what I love about marketing smaller, shorter videos is you really get to keep a pulse on what you're hearing in the market. So like, I'm not waiting in for a podcast next month to talk about all of these things. I may have had some dialogues this week. I'm like, gosh, that's a great point that they're bringing up, that objection. Like I need to talk to my audience about that. And that's going to be better served in a 30-second to 2-minute video as opposed to something longer form. And I don't want to say it's reactionary, because I don't believe that a marketing strategy should be reactionary, but it's keeping your hand in a little bit of a different way and being able to meet those objections and serve in a much more direct and consistent way. And I think that that's one of the distinguishing points between a podcast and then strategic marketing content. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
No, I think you nailed it. I think that you get to be way more nimble when you're doing your content separate. You can be a little bit more on the fly with, like you said, like things that are kind of showing up for you right now that you want to speak on. And so, yeah, I mean, I think there's nothing wrong with doing the podcast, and there's a lot of, I would think it's kind of another one of those both and things.
Totally.
Yeah, great question, Matt. So he said, what are your thoughts about video posts on hot new job openings? I mean, it's a home run. Yeah. But here's the mindset, right? Is the mindset is not that I'm going to post this video hoping that I get the best candidate from this effort. I'm posting this video to establish my brand and my relevancy to my market. Hey, I told you I'm the top recruiter in accounting and finance, for example. Guess what? I've got an open position here. But then the other thing is when I go show up on videos, I can share my passion for that open position, where if I'm just going, hey, exciting new job opportunity, which everybody does on LinkedIn that is so lazy, this is a great way to showcase the energy and get people to buy into the excitement of that job. So yeah, I totally think that sharing open job openings are great. And yeah, I mean, I've had people actually present candidates like the MPC, most placeable candidate type of thing via video, right? You can send directly to, a hiring leader. And again, we're showing up differently. So if you're doing into that MPC outreach, a lot of my clients will use video to incorporate that stuff too. So great questions here, guys.
The other thing I
Really
think is so
appreciate that.
cool about that approach, Donnie, is that you're showing your clients, the potential clients, that you're hustling to get the best fit. Like you're
Yeah.
not just showing passion for the candidate to attract the best person. You're showing your clients that like you are bringing the passion, you're investing energy, time, resources into finding the best person as well, which I think is distinguishing immensely.
I think that's just an absolutely excellent point, right? Like it just works into everything that you're doing. You're standing out against the competitors. And I don't know about, all of you guys that are watching and listening to us right now, but there's very few people that really can truly stand out and differentiate themselves from the next recruiting firm, right? There's only so many things that we can say are different, but there's a lot of ways that we can be different and show up different and engage. And this is one of those things to really show up and be intentional. And then you have like another selling point, right? If you became really, really good, just like Alexis was saying, is like, well, not only will your clients see how you're marketing, but then you could be like, oh, well, one of the things that we do is we do this, right? We use these types of things as a part of our process. So there's more perceived value in the offer that you have when you're approaching your clients. So thank you for the questions, Matt, Cody, Michael, Michelle, Joseph, Scott. Appreciate the interaction there, Aaron. Just to kind of wrap up, is there any other things why any other reasons why that we haven't really hit on at this point?
That we haven't hit on. I mean, let's highlight because I feel like we've touched on them. I mean, you're going to get increased engagement and attention. I mean, that is such a great selling point alone, right? People are going to retain video. There we go with my thumbs up. People are going to retain video more than your text. And that's such a positive thing. What else? What else am I missing here?
Yep. They're going to have the retainment, ultimately it's you're going to build brand awareness from your efforts. I think the word thought leader might be scary for some people, or it might be not something that you desire, right? You might never be like, oh, I don't want to be an influencer thought leader. Trust me, I don't like the word influencer. Don't consider myself an influencer. Consider myself a leader. But I think the thing is like, you can be effective with video marketing without being some thought leader in your industry. If that's not what you desire, you don't need to do that. But having a video as a part of your presence, like I said, I just don't think it's an option anymore, right? I think that more of it is like, one of the things is staying ahead of the times and watching about what's happening and what people are consuming. And it's like, it's not really worth the argument anymore. It's just like, be a part of the game in whatever way that you possibly can. Because the reality of it is a lot of recruiting firms out there are starting to go all in on this stuff. And do you want to be the one, that's kind of doing this behind the curve or ahead of the curve, right? There's so many different ways to really use, video. But I think the biggest thing is, cutting through all the crap, and it doesn't happen with a snap of the fingers and overnight, but it generates leads. Yeah. It warms leads. Yes. But it generates leads. It increases revenue in your business. It's going to grow your recruiting business if you do this consistently and through time, and if you have the strategy and things like that. So that's kind of the recap of what we had here today. Again, making sure that I'm just going to recap it one more time: increase leads, streamline your recruitment process, stand out and differentiate yourself, and increase your brand awareness. Warm up your leads so that all your other efforts of outbound, are really working together, and really becoming that well-known, trusted, person within your specific niche. And that's the last thing is you don't need to create video for everybody, and you don't need to be the expert of all experts. You need to be the expert in your industry and space. And just that's, I think, one of the things that can really help you if you have that fear of putting yourself out there. So if you've been on the sidelines, and you want to know how to, utilize video, I'm offering free strategy sessions. I've been helping recruiters implement video strategies for the last 6 years specifically. So I can either coach you on that, or through marketing and my partnership with Alexis, we can actually execute your video and content marketing strategy for you. And that would only require you 1 hour of your effort per month from doing that. So if you want to tackle this by yourself, we can help you. If you want to do this in-house, we can help you. Drop a comment below. But Alexis has something special she wants to talk to you about for a select few. So
yes. So I've been really excited to do this for 2024. I know that a lot of us have intentions, motivations, resolutions for 2024. And something that I feel like I could help with is offering certain people a social media strategy session where I help you come up with some content ideas. So because this takes an investment of my time, I'm offering it for just the first 5 people. After this, we're going to put a link in the comments where you can sign up. So the first step would be fill out the form. I need to know about you. I need to know about your socials. And then I'll be doing a social media audit. So I'm going to review your current social media efforts, see where you're at, what you're doing well, what you can improve on. If you don't have anything yet, please don't let that be a deterrent for you to sign up for this. I don't care if you've done anything or not done anything. It doesn't matter. And then I'd be doing a content creation game plan. So I'm going to be building a custom social media strategy session for you, give you some ideas on how to lead, serve, and connect. And then you'll have a one-on-one call with me. We have a 45-minute call so that I can really articulate a clear plan and a checklist for you moving forward. And I feel like I didn't say that this is for free. So I'm doing it for the first 5 people for free. I really want to help 5 people that are actually really motivated to really work on video and work on their content for the start of Q1. So we will put that link in the comments and fill out the form. And I'd love to book a time to help 5 people on this.
I love it. I love it. I think I put it in the comments there, but it may not have popped through yet. But yeah, just take a look for it in the comments or send Alexis and I a direct message if you want to schedule a call with us just about how we can help you with those options. Yeah, so it didn't post to the channel yet, so I will post that link as soon as this call's over. But hey, if you guys enjoyed this and found value, I would appreciate if you can tap that like button, leave some comments, and even share this video with some of your peers. Now, keep in mind, this video is on this is on my YouTube channel, and the podcast recording will be on Apple, Spotify. It's the Relevant Recruiter Show, so make sure you download that so you can listen to this episode as well as the other ones that we have coming out. Again, Alexis and I will be back next month. She's going to be joining me every month. I will be back next week with some specific topics myself and some amazing guests that we've got teed up for 2024. So thank you guys for being here with us today. Again, make sure you schedule a call with us or take advantage of that social media audit before those book up. And we've got a great proven track record of success. You can go check out my recommendations or my testimonial page, and we can help you with all the results that we've delivered for recruiters, both in the coaching program as well as with Aura Marketing. Thank you guys for being here with us today. Alexis, anything?
No, thank you guys so much for listening and for joining. Like Donnie, feel free to reach out to me with any questions that you may have about video marketing, social strategies. I'd love to support you.
All right. We'll see y'all soon.
Bye.